All right, today we're going to do Chapter 5, Understanding Google Cloud Identity. So welcome to Chapter 5 of our Cloud Security audiobook. In this chapter, we'll delve into Google Cloud Identity, a foundational service that provides authentication and identity management for your Google Cloud environment. We'll explore how to set up, manage, and secure cloud identity to protect your organization's resources. So here's an overview of cloud identity. Google Cloud Identity is an identity as a service, IDaaS, and enterprise mobility management, EMM solution. It serves as the backbone of identity management for your Google Cloud environment, providing directory management, user account and group creation, and synchronization with existing directory services like Active Directory through Google Cloud Directory Sync, that's GCDS. One of the first distinctions to understand is the difference between Google Workspace, formerly G Suite, and Google Cloud. While both utilize Google Cloud Identity for authentication, they serve different purposes. Cloud Identity is accessed via admin.google.com and is typically the first service you'll work with when setting up your Cloud Identity environment as a super administrator. When you go into the chat, all right. It's important to note that Cloud Identity provides authentication services, but not authorization. Authentication is setting up a cloud identity domain is typically your first step in establishing a Google Cloud environment. The process involves one, logging into admin.google.com with an administrator account, two, signing up for cloud identity, three, providing details like name and email address, four, verifying ownership of your domain. Domain verification is a critical security step that ensures you actually own the domain you're claiming. Google Cloud provides detailed guidance through the Cloud Identity web interface to complete this verification step. So to do this, you would go to admin.google.com and sign in with the admin account, and then follow the prompts to sign up for Cloud Identity, providing necessary details like your organization name and your domain. You can verify ownership in the console by going to, no, this would be when you're in your account, you go to account and then manage domains, or then domains and then manage domains. Then you click to verify the domain next to your domain name. So you follow the instructions to add a TXT holder to your domain's DNS settings. This typically involves logging in to your domain registrar's website, adding a new TXT record with the value provided by Google, and after the TXT record, you return to the admin console, click verify, and complete the process. Okay. And we'll get this site for you. You can find this to perform. Super Administrator Best Practices. The Cloud Identity Super Administrator role is distinct from Google Cloud IAM administrators, but the super admin is the default organization administrator with privileges on both platforms. This powerful role is managed through admin.google.com and has rights to manage users, groups, and security settings for Cloud Identity, as well as delegate access to Cloud IAM organization admin roles. Given the extensive privileges of the super admin account, it's essential to follow these best practices for security. One, always enable two-step verification or multi-factor authentication for super admin accounts. Two, keep a backup security key in a secure physical location. Three, disable device trust and limit web session length for additional protection. Four, avoid over-reliance on a single individual by limiting usage of super admin accounts. Keep the number of such accounts to a maximum of 4 to mitigate the risk of a single point of failure. 5. Set recovery phone numbers and email addresses and ensure each is secured with two-step verification. 6. Create a dedicated emergency super admin account and secure it for use only in emergencies. 7. Assign cloud identity admin roles to delegated administrators for day-to-day user and group management. 8. Delegate setup and management of Google Cloud organization resources to other administrators and assign fundamental IAM roles to ensure separation of duties. It's worth noting that Cloud Identity superadmins will bypass any single sign-on configuration. These accounts authenticate directly to Google Cloud Identity, which provides a critical recovery path if SSO, single sign-on, is misconfigured. Securing your account. Google Cloud Identity offers multiple options for securing accounts and enforcing strong security controls. Let's explore some of these key features available. Two-step verification. So two-step verification requires users to provide two forms of identification when logging in. This is logging in. So when you use your username and password, there's an additional second factor like a physical token or a mobile phone. This enhances security by ensuring that even if a password is compromised, the account remains protected. Two-step verification. Here are the two methods. Here are the methods that include this. One, security keys. Physical devices like Google Titan security keys or YubiKeys that provide strong hardware-based authentication. There we go. These are Titan security keys. You'll find this information. Number 2, Google prompt. When a user enters their username and password, a sign-in prompt is sent to their authorized mobile device for confirmation. 3, code generators. Apps like Google Authenticator or Authy or Okta generate a time-based one-time password. 4, backup codes. Pre-generated codes that can be printed and stored securely, useful when a mobile phone is unavailable. 5, text or call. One-time passwords sent via SMS to a mobile phone or provided through an automated call. You can configure any combination of these methods to balance security and convenience for your organization. So, how do you enforce two-step verification for users? In the GUI, to do this, in the admin console, that's admin.google.com, you would go to security, then to authentication, then to two-step verification. At that point, you would configure enforcement by clicking on Allow users to turn on two-step verification to enable the feature. Once there, you would choose the enforcement method, which would be any method or one method like the security key or the text or the backup codes or the code generators, and then set the enforcement date. Okay? And you'll see this information, which will be available in the chat as well. User security settings. As an administrator, you can manage various security settings for users, including 1, password resets. You can reset passwords and create temporary ones, automatically setting them to expire on the next sign-in. The recommended approach is to email passwords to users rather than copying and pasting them. 2, security keys. Add or revoke security keys for users as needed. 3, two-step verification. While only users can enable two-step verification for their accounts, administrators can check two-step verification settings or provide backup codes for users who are locked out. 4, password change requirements. Enforce password changes when necessary. Next up is session length control. Cloud Identity Premium allows administrators to configure the session length for Google services, particularly useful for privileged users like billing administrators. This policy can be configured to limit how long users can remain authenticated before needing to sign in again. While you can create exemption groups, this is generally not recommended for security reasons. Session length controls apply to Google Cloud Console access, the G Cloud command line tool, and any application that requires user authentication for Google Cloud scopes. Note that these controls do not apply to the Google Cloud mobile app. SAML-based single sign-on. So single sign-on, which is SSO, allows users to access multiple applications with a single set of credentials. Cloud Identity supports 2 approaches to configuring SSO. 1, pre-integrated SSO. Google supports over 300 pre-configured applications that can be directly deployed from the Cloud Identity console. 2, custom SAML. For custom applications or those not pre-configured, you can set up a custom SAML integration. And let me get the definition for SAML for you because I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think it's single area state security assertion markup language. There you go. All right. Such a definition for it. Okay. So to configure SAML-based SSO, you'll need one, the assertion consumer service ACS URL. Two, let me get this. You'll have this as well. Two, the entity identity. And three, which is optional, a start URL. If your external identity provider supports multi-factor authentication, you should configure MFA there. If not, use Google Cloud Identity to enforce MFA. So here's how to set up a custom SAML application. One, log into the admin console at admin.google.com, navigate to apps and then web and mobile apps, then click add app and select add custom SAML app. From there, follow the setup wizard to configure your application. This is where you name your app, add an optional description and icon, and then you download the identity provider metadata or copy the SSO URL, the entity ID, and certificate details. Then you'd enter the ACS URL, that's the assertion consumer service, and then the entity ID provided by your service provider. From there, you'll configure any optional settings like the start URL, assigned response, and attribute mappings. After that, you click finish and you complete the setup. All right. So here's a few additional security features. Let me get this for your SAML app. You'll see these instructions in the chat as well. So Cloud Identity Premium includes access to the Google Cloud Security Center. This provides advanced security analytics and visibility into security-related issues through a central dashboard. From this dashboard, you can view reports on login attempts, file exposure, DLP events, that's data loss prevention, and spam-related information, OAuth grant activity, user reports, and more. A key capability of the Security Center is the Security Investigation Tool, which helps you identify, triage, and take action on security-related events. The dashboard provides an overview of your security health, giving you a visibility into the admin console and related activities. Cloud Identity also allows you to, one, monitor and enforce password requirements based on your organization's policy. This includes length, complexity, and expiration parameters. And two, enable self-service password recovery, either allowing users to recover passwords themselves or requiring them to contact an administrator. Directory management. Directory management is a critical component of cloud identity. It involves configuring identity provisions, integrating with existing directory services like Microsoft Active Directory, creating users, assigning administrative permissions, and managing the provisioning and deprovisioning of user access. So let's go to Google Cloud Directory Sync, which we've already covered before, but it never hurts to cover again. Okay. All right. So you see this information here. Google Cloud Directory Sync, GCDS, is a tool that helps you synchronize Microsoft Active Directory or LDAP objects like users, groups, and organizational units to your Google Cloud Identity accounts. The synchronization ensures that your Google Cloud environment accurately reflects your on-premises directory structure. GCDS is available as a downloadable tool for your server and comes packaged with all the necessary components to set up the synchronization process. It includes built-in security features to ensure content remains secure during synchronization. Before synchronization begins, an OAuth token is created using the configuration manager to connect your Google account. You authorize GCDS with your Google account for authentication, ensuring secure access to your cloud identity environment. With GCDS, you can synchronize the following: organizational units, mailing lists, users and related attributes, extended user information, calendar resources like rooms and equipment, contacts, and passwords. Using the configuration manager, you can specify which attributes to include, exclude, or create exceptions for. GCDS supports default settings for Microsoft Active Directory or Open LDAP, making the setup process straightforward. How does GCDS work? Well, the data flow process follows these steps. One, relevant data is exported in a list from your LDAP server based on your configured rules. Two, GCDS connects to your Google Cloud Identity domain and generates a list of users, groups, and shared contacts that you specify. 3. GCDS compares these lists and generates a list of changes. 4. GCDS updates your Google Cloud Identity directory to match the Active Directory data. 5. When synchronization is complete, GCDS emails a report to any addresses you specify. For optimal security and reliability, GCDS should be run on dedicated hardware and provisioned from a single source of truth, typically your on-premises Active Directory. All connections from GCDS to LDAP can be secured using TLS, which you can specify in the configuration management. For standard LDAP without TLS, no encryption is used. All communications between Google and GCDS occur over HTTPS for security. So here's how you use the GCDS configuration manager. Let me see if I can get a page on this. So you'll be able to have this to refer to and this to refer to. Okay. 1. Download and install the GCDS on your server. You choose the appropriate version for your operating system, like Windows or Linux, and then gather information about your LDAP server structure, including tools like JExplorer or Softera LDAP Administrator. You need to capture the LDAP-based distinguished names, security groups to synchronize, connection details for your LDAP server, including hostname, IP address, and network information, authentication method, like secure LDAP using SSL or standard LDAP, and then user credentials with appropriate permissions. Then you need to clean up your LDAP directory to identify users in mail-enabled groups, ensuring they follow naming guidelines for compatibility. Next, you'll mark your Google users in your LDAP directory using organizational units, groups, descriptive names, or custom attributes. After this, you'll authorize GCDS with your Google account to generate an OAuth token for the configuration manager. Then you'll configure which identity information to synchronize, including user accounts, groups, user profiles, organizational units, or calendar resources. Then you'll set up a connection setting. This will include your primary domain and proxy settings if necessary. Then you'll configure notification settings to receive emails when data is synchronized. You'll set up logging based on the level of detail you need. And finally, you'll verify the synchronization by running a simulation test. The configuration manager will generate a report of any failures, and when successful, you can proceed with sync and apply to perform the actual synchronization. User provisioning in cloud identity. So user provisioning in cloud identity requires pre-provisioning users and groups. There are several approaches to accomplish this. 1. Manual addition. This is suitable for small numbers of users, typically 5 to 10. This approach involves adding users directly through the Cloud Identity Admin Console. While straightforward, it becomes unwieldy as the number of users increases. Okay? Let me get to number. There's where you'll get more. Number 2, CSV upload. For bulk user creation, you can prepare a CSV file listing user details such as first name, last name, and organizational path. While passwords can be included, this is not recommended for security reasons. Number 3, Active Directory Federation. Using GCDS, you can configure continuous synchronization between your Active Directory and cloud identity. This approach requires initial setup effort, but provides a scalable and secure solution for ongoing user provisioning and deprovisioning. Number 4, third-party provisioning. Similar to GCDS, this approach leverages commercial third-party solutions like Okta or Ping Identity to federate with Google Cloud Identity. While scalable, it involves additional costs. So a common deployment scenario involves federating Google Cloud Identity with either GCDS or a third-party LDAP solution, creating a seamless integration between your on-prem identity infrastructure and your cloud environment. Automating user lifecycle management. So user provisioning and deprovisioning in large enterprises can become complex. Let's get you some information on why. Okay. All right. Okay. So as users join, move within, or leave the organization, their application access requirements change. To address this challenge, Google Cloud Identity provides automated provisioning connectors between third-party applications and Cloud Identity. Right? So building on the SAML-based SSO capabilities we discussed earlier, Cloud Identity can act as your identity provider to integrate with third-party applications. Once SSO is configured, you can enable automated user provisioning to create, delete, or modify user identities across cloud applications. The Cloud Identity Administrator can configure the system to synchronize specific user subsets and, and automate the entire user lifecycle management process. When a user is added to Cloud Identity and assigned to the relevant organization, they automatically gain access to all applications that organization members have access to. So this automation streamlines the onboarding process and ensures that users have consistent access across all connected applications through a single sign-on experience. This looks like a good way to visualize this. Fine. See this employee joins, create the IT profile, assign the apps, onboard the employee, then your additional apps, any changes, and then if the employee departs, then you offboard. Okay? And I'll add this as well because I think that image alone is really solid. Administering user accounts and groups programmatically. So for organizations requiring programmatic management of user accounts and groups, Google Cloud Identity provides the Directory API, a REST API that's part of the admin SDK. This API enables automated user management across a variety of use cases. I'll bring that up. Google Cloud directory structure, that might be it. Let's try it. Services. For discovering, publishing, and connecting services. I think that might be, it's close. So there's user lifecycle operations like creating and updating users, deleting users, granting admin roles, searching for users, and then adding relationships between user accounts like manager-employee relationships. This is not exactly what we're looking for. This is more services. But that's okay. No, that's not it either. But it's okay. All right. And there's also group lifecycle operations. This is it. Okay. So these include creating and updating groups, adding group aliases, searching for groups or members, or deleting groups. Then there's group membership operations. This includes adding members to groups, updating group memberships, retrieving group member information, and deleting memberships. And you can do this programmatically through the admin SDK API, right? And you would do this by going to the APIs, Cloud Identity APIs, right here. And you would search for the API, enable it, and then set up OAuth credentials. From there, you would create your credentials and your OAuth client ID, and then you could list your users in the API client library. It's a programmatic approach that's usually valuable for large organizations with complex identity management requirements or those seeking to integrate identity management with existing automation workflows. So let's talk about implementing cloud identity a little bit more. There's a couple of different ways you can look at this. Here's some practical steps. Scenario one, an enforcing two-step verification. To enhance security for a Google App Engine application meant for internal use, you would enforce two-factor authentication in Google Workspace or Cloud Identity for all users. This ensures that even if an employee's password is compromised, an external user cannot gain access to the application. Scenario two, integrating with existing identity systems. When migrating to Google Cloud and maintaining your existing identity management system, you would do the following. One, use Google Cloud Directory Sync to synchronize users and groups from your Active Directory or your LDAP servers. Two, configure synchronization rules based on your organizational structure. Three, set up a scheduled synchronization to keep identities up to date. This approach would allow you to maintain your existing identity management system as the source of truth while leveraging Google Cloud's powerful authentication capabilities. Scenario three, automating user provisioning and deprovisioning. So for automatic removal of access when an engineer leaves an organization, you can configure Cloud Directory Sync with your directory service. You can set up synchronization rules that ensure terminated accounts are automatically removed from a cloud identity. And then you can regularly schedule synchronization to ensure timely updates. This ensures that when a user is removed from your source directory, their access to Google Cloud resources is promptly revoked. Scenario four, setting up a SAML-based SSO with MFA. To secure access into an internal application, you need to do the following. One, configure SAML-based SSO between your identity provider and Google Cloud. Two, enable identity-aware proxy for the application. Three, enforce multi-factor authentication through your identity provider or through Cloud Identity. Four, create a Google group containing all authorized users. Five, grant this group access through identity-aware proxy. This configuration ensures that only authenticated and authorized users can access the application, even if credentials are compromised. So hold this to your thoughts. Cloud Identity forms the foundation of your Google Cloud security strategy. It helps you manage who can access your environment and provide the authentication mechanisms to verify their identity. By implementing best practices and the configurations we've discussed, you can create a robust identity management system that aligns with your organization's security requirements and existing infrastructure. Soon, we'll go to our next chapter. From there, we'll go into cloud identity and access management, which is a little bit more of an extension of this, but goes into the Google Cloud itself. Thank you for joining. Have a good day.